another fake Uyghur witness. This time it is Gulbahar Haitiwaji. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. Probably I am, but it's not my language. Please forgive me. This is the forced sterilization episode. This is your favorite half Chinese because a lot of people ask me about the forced sterilization. I'm not finished with the one, but I will start with the witnesses because that is how we know, right? We go directly to the sterilization part, and then later some additional information about her testimony that she gave. She says here, when she was there in China, when the nurses grabbed my arm to vaccinate me, I thought they were poisoning me. In reality, they were sterilizing us. Right. So I was looking up how sterilization works. Female sterilization, right? I have this from the NHS from the UK. How it works. Female sterilization works by preventing eggs traveling down the fallopian tubes which link the ovaries to the womb. How female sterilization is carried out. Now we're going to know. The surgeon will block your fallopian tubes, tubal occlusion by either. So we got a couple of options here. Applying clips, plastic or titanium clamps are closed over the fallopian tubes. The other, applying rings, a small loop of the fallopian tube is pulled through a silicone ring, then clamped shut. The other one is tying, cutting, and removing a small piece of the fallopian tube. This is a fairly minor operation, and many women return home the same day. So, it is not through a needle into your arm, right? So when she was thinking, when the nurses grabbed my arm to vaccinate me, I thought they were poisoning me. In reality, they were sterilizing us. No, they were probably really vaccinating you. And you should be happy for that. Thank them. Anyway, we're going to look into her story because a lot of things do not add up. First, she says her husband, Karim, had always known he would leave Xinjiang. The idea had taken root even before we were hired by the oil company. But then she also said, so he left Xinjiang in 2002 to look for work. He tried first in Kazakhstan, but came back disillusioned after a year, then in Norway, and then France, where he applied for asylum. It seems that every time he goes back to China, and then he is in France, and he applies for asylum. Why would you apply for asylum when you can just apply for a permit to stay, right? He got a job, obviously, he studied for the things that he does and whatever, right? So, my daughters and I fled to France to join my husband in May 2006. What was she fleeing from? She wasn't fleeing, she was just going to her husband. This is nice propaganda to give you that real good crispy feeling of oppression. Just before Xinjiang entered an unprecedented period of repression. So she claims that it was just before the repression started. So it couldn't also be because of repression that she was fleeing to France. So obviously there's nothing she was fleeing from. In my imaginations, so she just went over to go to there, right? So then that was then she says here, since the Urumqi riots in 2009, an explosion of violence between the city's Uyghur and Han population, which left 197 people dead. So she admits that there were terrorist attacks, right? It's very important to know because we're coming to her daughter right now. Then one of the officers, because she was asked to get back to China, and then she went back to China because she needed to sign some papers for something, right? It is weird if you are fleeing from a country and then you go back to sign some papers. That's how I also know that she definitely didn't flee. Otherwise, she would have said no. And how would they have her number? Well, we can debate on it, that they can find it somewhere else, maybe Googled it, whatever. But it is very unlikely, isn't it? Because you fled, so you wouldn't like to leave a trace, isn't it? Anyway, it could happen, but it's less likely. But she went back to China, and then she was brought in for questioning. Not on the same day when she entered, but later. And then this happened. Then one of the officers shoved a photo under my nose. It made my blood boil. It was a face I knew as well as my own. Those full cheeks, the slender nose. It was my daughter, Gulbahar. She was posing in front of the Place du Trocadero in Paris, bundled up in her black coat, the one I'd given to her. In the photo, she was smiling, miniature East Turkestan flag in her hand. A flag the Chinese government had banned. Right, so this is the East Turkestan flag. You can see it's a part of a moon and a star, right? Blue and white. So we're going to look at what it is. The East Turkestan Islamic Movement. The Muslim separatist group based in the Xinjiang province in northwest China presents a heightening security challenge for Beijing. And here you see the flag, right? The United Nations. The East Turkestan Islamic Movement, ETIM, is an organization which has used violence to further its aim of setting up an independent so-called East Turkestan within China. Yes, they want to take over Xinjiang and make it an Islamic state. That's correct. Here is the terror group China fears the most, and there you see them waving the flag proudly with their weapons in their hand. So there's nothing anybody can say that they're not a terrorist organization. About the ETGE, that is the East Turkestan government in exile. They already have a government in place. These people are not in exile. There was never a government in Xinjiang other than the one from the CPC, which, by the way, majority is also Uyghur people because it's a republic. They govern themselves. Anyway, I just wanted to show you this because it's very important. I hope people will share this. So her daughter was clearly with a terrorist group together. So it is normal that the police will question you. And yeah, you know, probably she was also part of it. I think so, because she doesn't say it's wrong or whatever. She doesn't condemn it. She talks about it like it is okay. This picture is beautiful. Bound and blindfolded inmates. Likely Uyghurs, but most people will forget to read likely and directly associated that with Uyghurs being, actually these are prisoners being transported to another jail or prison. And why are we doing this all the time? Discrediting China and talking about Uyghurs, how bad it is, because in this way we in the West can have an excuse to sanction the same exact Uyghurs, and that is what it is about. I cannot stress enough on this. We are trying, we from the West, not me, I'm trying to help them. We from the West, the NATO countries, are trying to destroy the economy of these exact Uyghurs that they are talking about, that they like so much and trying to protect. You do not protect them by sanctioning. Look at the list, how long it is. 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 You see? That's how long. It is no BS. You can just look it up, and it keeps going on. The U.S. sanction list, it is on the Uyghur Human Rights Project. These are the human rights of Uyghurs being sanctioned by, again, the United States, unilateral, illegal sanctions, and they are being honored by the NATO states. No other country is honoring this. So as we can see here is the world map, and in the blue are the countries opposing China's Xinjiang policies. In the red are the countries supporting China's Xinjiang policies. So blue is opposing, red is supporting. The ones with the red stripe is inclusion on the pro-China list is unclear, right? So if we look at the blue countries, those are the exact countries that have set the Middle East on fire, murdering millions and millions of Muslims in their endless efforts to destabilize the region with their endless wars. Who would you believe? And in the red, we also see a lot of Muslim countries. There you go. Anyway, let me know what you think of this video or what you think of all this in the comment section. Leave it a like and give me a follow if you have not yet. And please share this. It is important that you share it.